Okay, so in this part, I'm going to talk about some fairly broad topics when it comes to composition and composing a scene and composing kind of like a an environment. So we're going to cover the creation of an environment, bringing in assets, and adding camera effects to give us like a genuine I guess a genuine feel like this is being shot on a real camera. So I'm probably going to just time lapse this first part because it's going to be a lot of modeling and not a lot of talking. But once I get into the like adding assets and creating depth of field, that's when I'll kind of jump back in again. But I did want to just um, catalog this process so that you can kind of like hopefully in YouTube you'll be able to slow this down and watch it back at like 0.25 speed if you were looking for specific techniques. But the general gist is just like it's just what I'm doing and the details of that, and adding and editing a few really basic shaders. Um, so we'll go ahead with that. I'll switch over to the object shader editor. Yeah, and we'll go ahead with that, and then I'll jump back on the microphone once I've kind of sorted that out. Okay, so starting again from here, I've just gone through and basically built a little scene, a little environment, um, for a couple of reasons. Obviously, to give it some context, um, to give my design some space to inhabit, to create lighting that is going to um, make sense in that environment, and add immersive details that are necessary for us to kind of like get a sense that this is a real, or at least like a semi-real kind of environment. So the main things I did were create an object for the walls, and I'm just creating these as like parts of a cube and then separating them out. You can kind of go back through and watch my process. I've left all the mistakes in where I kind of like messed up with the extrusions and things to create the skirting boards, which is like a very very often overlooked element of the kind of like a house environment that people just completely forget about all the time, but when it's not there, it looks like something's missing because you never have a wall just meet the floor. Generally, there's some kind of skirting board around. And then you've got the floor itself, and these are all separate objects, so I can actually apply materials to them. And then I've got some nice like slats on the window here to create some kind of nice lighting effect. It looks pretty good. You don't always have to use that. You can use, whatever. You can have like a window frame in there if you want to. In fact, I might just add one now. Okay, that's good enough. So yeah, I'm adding details, adding little things that are going to, you know, create the I guess create a sense of authenticity in the space. Like without these details, you can end up with some fairly like bland and like characterless areas, characterless spaces. So you really want to add those kind of details in there to make sure that the space is convincing. One thing else I'm going to do as well, and I'll do this right now, is add in an actual window pane, like so an actual glass panel. I'll just actually go again and use this cube here to cut away. There we are. Then we want this one. I'm just going to grab this and Shift D to duplicate, and then hit P, separate selection, and now we have our, take away our cutter, and now we actually have a window pane. So we'll make this a glass material so that we can see light through it, but I'll just chuck that in behind in the actual window frame here. Now that's going to cut off all our light until we add a glass material, but before I do that, I'm just going to organize my collection here a little bit, create a new collection and just call it room, and I'm just going to chuck everything here, this frame, this floor. I'm going to chuck that into the room collection so I can, so I know where everything is. This cube is, oh yeah, cool. So this is my slats or whatever, blinds, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter, just as long as you know what you're looking at. Skirting boards go in there as well, and we'll put the cutting tool for the window in there too. Cool. So yeah, from here it's all about kind of configuring the space, configuring your materials, and adding assets to kind of create this more authentic space. So the first thing we can do here is add a glass material to this window pane. So like you might be thinking, okay, we can just increase the transmission because that's what the transmission slide is there for. And obviously we're not getting light refraction through that. So we'll need to go into our options here and turn on screen space refraction to allow the light to bounce through. We will also want to, before we get ahead of ourselves, an easier way of dealing with this is not with the principal BSDF. It's instead adding a glass BSDF instead, which will be fine. It'll basically do exactly what we want, and we just need to make sure that we are letting light through. There we go. Okay, so you just want to make sure the shadows are being cast through that so that we don't have, so we kind of get the illusion of a window is there, but the light is coming through. But you'll see that the window is going to reflect the interior environment and not the exterior environment, which is kind of, mixed use in its usefulness. We can always adjust that, but for now I'm going to leave it because it's not super important. We may want to adjust that later on, or just switch our world lighting completely over to into our sky lighting. We'll just have to understand that that's going to drastically change the ambient lighting environment here. Oops, that's the wrong axis. 0 and around the z-axis. So yeah, that's going to dramatically change the lighting environment and the ambient lighting in here. So I'm just going to leave it as I had it before. That's still kind of good enough. Okay, cool. So now that we have a kind of glass in there for our window, I'm going to start to add some assets. Sorry, I've also got a sunlight over here. You can see the sunlight's coming through here. And that's creating these kind of shadows here, or these sharp shadows. If we turn that sunlight off, then we don't get that dynamic lighting So that's the importance, I guess, of mixing both an environment light with in-scene lighting. Is that the environment light provides the sense of ambience in the scene, and then the in-scene lighting is the specific dynamic lighting within the scene that gives you a good amount of control over the results.